Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country. Together we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny, and we're going to achieve the most incredible future.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a comeback for the ages. Donald Trump is back, and how? The 2024 United States presidential election became one of the most intense and unpredictable polls in recent history. From Donald Trump's courtroom battles and a bullet grazing his ear to a dramatic debate that dashed incumbent President Joe Biden's hopes of a re-election, the campaign has been filled with unprecedented events. Kamala Harris's late entry into the race added another twist, keeping the world's attention riveted on this unfolding drama. The election's intensity went far beyond American borders, making headlines worldwide. In the end, Donald Trump triumphed over Kamala Harris in a fiery contest. Trump claimed victory in all of the 7 key swing states, securing his place in history as the second president to win the White House for a non-consecutive term. The last time this happened was in the 1800s, when Grover Cleveland served as the 22nd and the 24th president during the Civil War era. World leaders have congratulated Donald Trump over his victory. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he's looking forward to further strengthening the India-US strategic partnership. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu termed Trump's victory history's greatest comebacks. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he will not congratulate Trump and instead wait for what he does during his presidency. Now remember, Trump's victory was marked by strong wins across more than 30 states, including the pivotal battlegrounds like Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Florida, Indiana, and Kentucky. By contrast, Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee and candidate, secured only 19 states, bringing an end to her bid for the presidency.
Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. The people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon. And I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character, he's a special guy, he's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them.
Let's welcome my guest on the show this evening, Karen Giono. She has been, in fact, Trump's national senior advisor and Florida chief strategist. Karen, namaste, good evening from here in India. What an absolutely grand celebration that the Republican Party has had. This day has been very, very important to all of you there. Your first thoughts on Donald Trump's historic victory?
Well, first of all, very good to be with you this morning. It is a celebration here for a good portion of the country. I'm not going to say that half the country is excited for this outcome, but certainly someone like myself and those who've worked very diligently to get Donald Trump reelected This is not only a wonderful morning to wake up to, but also a celebration for the future of the country. We have
Karen,
probably.
this has been a high octane, high pitched battle. Yes. Yes, please go ahead, Karen.
No, I was just going to say this is probably going to be studied in historic political books, but also just in history in general as to how this unfolded. As you all have been watching our U.S. elections and looking at the different cycles, you pointed out that this has not happened since Grover Cleveland. And there's a lot of similarities. However, there are a lot of unique attributes to what just happened today with this unique man. He is a historic figure now for all to study, and but also to anticipate what he is going to do, not only for the United States of America, but how it will affect the world.
Karen, for both sides, the Republicans as well as the Democrats, this was a high-octane, high-pitched election battle that was panning out in the past few months. We've also seen two major assassination attempts against Donald Trump. We've seen some, intense political war of words that's been happening between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. But as per you, as somebody who's worked closely with Donald Trump, somebody who's been his strategist as well, what has worked for Donald Trump this time around?
I think he has been just authentically Donald Trump. What you see is what you get. So I'll give you the example of when he went in to work at the McDonald's just recently in the closing arguments of this race. He did not put on a costume. He wore what he normally would wear. He wasn't trying to be anyone but Donald Trump. But what he was able to do was connect with the average American. I would say traditionally, over the past several generations, blue collar, average Americans have really flocked to the Democrat Party until Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been historically bringing them over to the Republican Party under his leadership and under his banner for the last 10 years. And so the fact that he is authentic, whether you like him, you don't like him, it really doesn't quite matter. The election results speak for themselves. I do believe that when you look at this win, this victory, it is so decisive that whether or not you intended to vote this particular cycle, you're looking at policies over personality. That is what won the day today.
Karen, when you say the average American is who connected with Donald Trump, that he was being quintessential Donald Trump when he reached out to the last man and the last woman in the queue, what do you mean? What do you mean when we talk about the issues that the average American was grappling with? There was high inflation, there was cost of living, there was illegal immigration that was talked about. There was, of course, the two wars that have divided the American society and American campuses deeply. For you, what has been the one thing that really resonated with the average American, something that they see hope in when they look at Donald Trump, that he will fix it?
Well, the good news for Donald Trump is that people started to remember what it was like 4 years ago. So when he started to ask the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? People actually contemplated that. And they were able to look at their grocery bills, and they were able to see how much gas prices cost. And inflation is real. And for many, many months, the Biden administration was telling the American people that inflation wasn't real, that job numbers are coming back, that the economy is great, and that you were on the path for being able to be an economic superpower again. People were just not feeling that. It didn't resonate because it didn't reflect reality. Donald Trump, whatever bombastic nature he has and he possesses, it has truths kind of embodied in it, which is he will tell you that is not true. People are hurting, and he is able to connect with those who are feeling as if they're being lied to or gaslighted or just sold a bill of goods that just it did not reflect their everyday experiences. And so again, I really want to stress this. This is about policies over personality. People know who Donald Trump is. You either love him or you don't. You like his personality or you don't. But what was interesting in this race, in this election, that was different from 2016 is that in 2016, people were getting to know Donald Trump, the politician. They knew Donald Trump, the celebrity, the businessman, the titan, the icon. They didn't know who he was going to be as a politician and as the next president of the United States. And so there was a little bit of a risk there to say, can you translate that into governing? He was able to govern for 4 years. The economy was strong. We had great trade policies. There were no wars or conflicts happening around the world. He was able to manage to make us energy independent in that short amount of time that he was president. Now, COVID has had a factor in the 2020 election, but all in all, Donald Trump performed. He performed for the American people. Wages were going up, and people felt optimistic. The last 4 years, people have not felt optimistic. They feel very.
Karen. Yeah, Karen, it's interesting that you refer back to 2016 and the Trump presidency and the kind of performance that Donald Trump gave as president that time around. Critics of Donald Trump say that he didn't do much as far as that wall was concerned. He promised a wall with Mexico to stop the illegal immigration and all of that, something that he also talked about in his victory speech today. He said he's going to seal the borders and that he will ensure that illegal immigration doesn't happen. But Trump's critics say that, back in 2016, he promised a lot, but he didn't do much on ground. What do we expect now? How do we trust him now?
Well, building a wall was only one small piece of his immigration policy. And I love that critics keep referring to the fact that that he did not finish the wall. Well, context matters. And he inherited in part of his term resistance from Congress. We have three co-equal branches of government here, and we don't have a dictatorship. And this is not an authoritarian regime. The president of the United States has to work with the other branches of our government. And so the Congress did not finance the wall. So the unfortunate part of that was he couldn't build the rest of it. However, he did institute the Remain in Mexico policy, which was really stemming the majority of the flow of illegal immigrants into the United States. So I don't really lend a lot of credence to that argument, only because they give you only a section of it without giving you a full context of the full policy and coming out of the White House regarding this issue.
Karen, I also want to talk to you about this interesting point that has come out of the US presidential election results this time around, and that is of the black votes and the women votes, something that Kamala Harris and her team had been evoking time and again. Kamala Harris, in fact, had identity as one of the central points of talking when she talked to her voters. She evoked her Indian roots, she evoked her African roots, and at one point it was the Obamas who had to come out and say that, you know what, we are urging the black males to please vote for Kamala Harris and get your first female president. That clearly hasn't worked out for her. Similarly, for women voters, something that she championed the cause of, the abortion rights, and something that perhaps went against Donald Trump, has not really worked as expected for Kamala Harris and her team, because we see, that number of votes, the community, the women community, as well as the black male community and African community being more inclined towards Donald Trump. Why do you think that happened?
Well, again, I don't think that most Americans relate to identity politics or identity in general. Most people that I talk to, if I'm out in some of these swing states, and recently I was in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, when you talk about their lives, they don't start out with saying I'm Indian American or I'm African American. And so the identity politics backfired on the Democrats. People look at the issues that affect them and their families and their businesses, and them personally. And identity politics is really it's a political dead weight. And I think that the Democrats are going to have to reevaluate how they view the strategic value of inserting that into campaigning in the future. It just simply doesn't work, because this is not how America runs. We don't look at our neighbors as and identify them from where their perhaps original national heritage came from, or like I'm Italian, for instance. I don't go around saying I'm Italian American. This backfired. So Donald Trump was able to really talk about the issues, not about your identity, talked about what was happening in America every single day because of the policies coming out of the Biden-Harris White House. And so as a result of sticking to policy, you saw an overwhelming number of individuals who happened to be the gender of being female or male, or happen to be African American, Hispanic. I know that we spend a lot of time on saying we're going to target these demographics, and we look at these demographics as block voters. They're not. They're individual voters, and they're going to vote individually based on who is representing their values and the policies that will affect them and their families and their businesses and their future.
Karen, one of the biggest concerns has been illegal immigration, as you and I have been talking about, and this campaign has seen some high-pitched war of words also happening between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. There has been talk about reformation in the immigration system as well. Both camps have talked about it. Now that Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States, how soon do you think can that happen?
Well, again, I think we have to kind of reassess how we're going to be talking about all of these issues that have been brought up in the campaign. The one that you just mentioned, I would simply say this: we have very good and very strong laws on the books with regard to legally migrating and immigrating into the United States of America. We don't need new laws. They just need to be enforced. And what was happening during the last 4 years is that these laws have been ignored. There's absolutely no excuse to not enforce the the laws on the books. I think Donald Trump will start there. Let's begin with enforcement of the laws on our books. You cannot just simply come over to the United States of America and claim that you need asylum. There's a process, and if you do not figure out how to administer that process in a way that follows the law, then the government in and of itself is breaking the law. And that's what we were seeing the last 4 years.
All right, my last question to you, Karen. Donald Trump in his victory speech said this is going to be the start of the golden era of the United States of America. In terms of the relationship that United States shares with India, where would India figure in that golden era?
Well, I would just look back at when he was president of the United States, and that's a really wonderful opportunity. We don't get that with most candidates running for president unless you're the incumbent, right? So again, this is a unique situation. There is a very robust, healthy, vibrant relationship between the United States and India under the Trump administration, the former Trump administration. I have no doubt in my mind that the same will occur in the new Trump administration, him being now not the 45th president of the United States, but the 47th president of the United States. And I think that he will look at India as a friend and ally and a great trading partner.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Karen Giorno, for speaking with us on Mirror Now. Of course, it is a day of celebration for all of you. Congratulations once again. A big, big day for the Republican Party there in the United States of America. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a short break. We will, of course, keep decoding this crucial U.S. presidential election on the other side of the broadcast. Stay tuned.